Look up in the sky. It's a woman. It's a man. It's Superman. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
You know what I meant.
She always did like the grumpy ones. In truth, Evitash's tastes are quite varied, although it is uncommon for her to be attracted to men.
Mother.
Whoa. 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 What did you say to me? It's ma'am! Get it right, shitbag.
Perhaps because in some ways, she acts more like a man herself.
Listen, lady, I'm the only fucking pronoun in this group, alright? Well, we're finally here, guys. A Dragon Age the Veilguard review. And this one has been really rough. Not to mention I've been sick through this whole ordeal. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. So yeah, I've been dealing with that and trying to play through this game, which has been hard to do. But I finally had to put it on the shelf after about 25 hours. I had enough. I hit the 25-hour mark, and that was probably more than most. And I just had to put it on the shelf. Couldn't take any more. Alright, so I went and did some research because I wanted to get my facts straight about the history of BioWare, because this is important about this company. So let me just start off by talking about a little bit of the history of BioWare, so you understand probably why everything is the way that it is. So yeah, Dragon Age was developed by BioWare, and it was published by EA. I'm probably going to butcher these names, but BioWare was founded by Ray Muzica, Greg Zeshik, and Augustine Yip in 1995. These guys were all recent medical graduates from the University of Alberta, and they each had a background in programming just for use in school. They loved playing video games and decided to pool their money together and start a gaming company. They each put $100,000 Canadian, which was $300,000, to start off. And during the late 90s and early 2000s, these guys developed some of the best games of all time, actually. They were directly responsible for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, Jade Empire, the Mass Effect trilogy, Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, just to name a few. Those are big games, and these guys were at the helm of a lot of those games. So BioWare was bought in 2007, and it officially became a unit of EA, but still retained its own branding. And everyone knows that this is the moment the company actually died. All the way back in 2007, the moment EA bought them, it was over. Just to fast forward a little bit, on the 18th of September 2012, the day after the official announcement of Dragon Age 3, both Ray Muzica and Greg Zeshik, the two remaining co-founders of BioWare, simultaneously announced they'd be retiring from the game industry. And that was the moment that sealed the deal. Anything that came out of BioWare after that point isn't BioWare. So whatever came out of BioWare after the 18th of September of 2012 isn't BioWare. So yeah, that was it for BioWare. So now we can understand that everything that's came since then is not BioWare. It's some weird abomination company that's just wearing their skin as a mask. So I just wanted to give you guys a little history lesson on where this company came from. A lot of companies have that background. Just a couple dudes liked making games, liked playing games. They weren't even in the gaming industry. They were medical students. Decided to go do what they loved. And thank God they did, because we got some awesome games out of that. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, the Mass Effect trilogy. At one time, the Mass Effect trilogy was my favorite game series of all time. So I'm glad they decided to do that. But it's unfortunate that EA does this to every company it purchases, and this is also why don't ever go public with your company and don't ever sell your company. Start a company, and then when they came around and said, hey, yeah, I'm gonna buy your company, be like, nah, I'm good, dude. We're good, we're doing alright over here. And that's it. Just keep doing you. Alright, so Dragon Age the Veilguard, it's an action RPG where you play as Rook, who's out to find fame and fortune, but ends up entangled in a plot to destroy the world. It's up to Rook to save the world from the Scourge of Blight. That's the premise of this game. I did not play through Dragon Age Inquisition's story, I did, however, play the multiplayer mode, and I had a lot of fun with it, actually. But since this is EA, of course this game runs on the Frostbite engine. Everybody here, if you watch my other videos, you know how I feel about the Frostbite engine. The Frostbite engine is horrendous for certain types of games, mainly sports games. It is terrible, but it actually works pretty damn good here, in my opinion. This is probably the best I've seen the Frostbite engine. Alright, let's move on to the gameplay. We'll talk about the good aspects of it. The combat is actually pretty fluid, and it's not hard to master. You have basic light attacks and heavy attacks, which you can make combos out of, or even charge up the attacks to switch it up. And this makes combat pretty enjoyable, at least through the first stretch of the game. And when you get an enemy's stagger meter up high enough, you can also do execution moves akin to Space Marine 2 or Doom Eternal. And the animations are pretty good, but after seeing how brutal the executions were in Space Marine 2, I was always left wanting more after every execution. There's like a tiny speck of blood here and there, and so I'm like, dude, you're crushing this guy's head in with a mallet or an axe. Come on, man. And you also have access to a dodge and a parry button, so fighting multiple enemies at a time can be really fun, especially when you get in the zone. I mean, you start parrying one guy, and then you hit him with an execution, and turn and blow that other guy away with an ability, and dodge the guy behind you and smash his head in. It can be very satisfying at times. So you can pick between 3 classes, Warrior, Rogue, or Mage, and each class has 3 specializations that you can unlock at level 20, allowing you to further customize your playstyle. I chose the Warrior class, and a Warrior can either have sword and shield or 2-handed weapons. I use 2-handed axes most of the time, but you also get access to what I call the Captain America shield. It really is like Cap's shield, and you use it a lot like Kratos' axe in God of War, flinging the thing around. The skill trees for the player character and companions is pretty large, and it allows you to build your characters the way you want. They don't make it punishing either, as you can refund your skill points at will and respec. The game structure felt a lot like Mass Effect to me, but only in the sense that you have to manage your party members, and you have to try to do side quests for them to win their favor. Sometimes you have to make a tough call about who you should help in a certain situation, which could cause problems with other members later, that kind of thing. So they really wanted you to manage your party like they did in Mass Effect. The only problem was I didn't give a fuck about any of my party members, man. We'll get to that. So items are scattered all over the levels, and you seem to get rewarded quite often for exploring off the beaten path. I was enjoying exploring around and wasting a lot of time exploring, just finding these little chests with 13 gold in it or whatever the fuck. Some items can increase in rarity as you unlock new traits for said item, so that's kind of cool. You get a basic green item or a gray item, and then by the end of it, if you keep wearing it or you find certain things in chests, it'll put it all the way up to a rare. So that was pretty cool. The character customization is pretty good in this game. It allows you to make your character look pretty much how you want, which is a nice touch. And the level design wasn't too bad in this game either, but the entire game itself just has this very generic feel to it. It's kind of hard to put into words, but none of the game mechanics really stand out here. It's just a been there, done that kind of feel. Alright, so let's move on to the bad.
A damn good-looking hero, if I do say so. If there's anything I can do, just say the word.
You're such a dear. I hope these two are paying attention.
Thea, don't flirt with my colleague.
Jealous? Fine. To business, then.
Fucking pronouns! Yeah, they force you to pick your pronouns for your character. Having to pick pronouns on top of having fucking surgery scars in the game is an immediate do not buy for me. So yeah, that about sealed the deal. Combat can be fun for the first few hours, but after that, everything gets boring fast. I had a hard time continuing to play this game after about 8 hours because I had already seen everything I needed to see as far as gameplay, and I was not having fun anymore. The items are pretty bland and boring. You just collect materials, bring them to your workbench guy, and upgrade them. That's it. It was designed so casual idiots can just sit back and not think about anything, in my opinion. And you're not punished for anything in this game. I mean, if you walk off a cliff or fall in the ocean, you just respawn back on the cliff without taking damage. Holy normie hell, Batman, get me the fuck out of here. And I couldn't stand any of my party members on my team, so it was really hard to decide which ones to bring with me on missions.
I can't believe you found the end to my cereal. The poison was inside the ring.
Glad it worked out.
It did. Well, not for the poison drinker, but he murdered the neighbor's cat, so for the cats... Anyway, you and Rook had me worried, but it ended happy.
And when you don't read the sequels, those endings stick.
There's a sequel? Have you read it?
No, but trust me. Tragedy sells in Marathas. More story? Better chance things go sideways.
They were all gonna bitch and moan and cry about things that didn't matter. So just pick your poison, boys. That's how I felt about it. I hated that the jump button and the interact button are the same, because I just kept jumping off cliffs trying to collect items in the beginning. It was kind of hilarious, but it got annoying. The worst part of it for me is that there's no multiplayer in this game. I repeat, there's no multiplayer in this game. When I knew I was going to review it, I was at least kind of looking forward to the multiplayer aspect, because I actually did have a lot of fun on the Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer with a few of my friends. But unfortunately, they completely removed that game mode from the game, making this a completely single player experience. And they really fucked up with that move, because people are still playing Dragon Age Inquisition to this day because of the multiplayer. So in my opinion, this will ultimately mean Dragon Age the Veilguard will be forgotten in 2 months. So to summarize the gameplay, the overall gameplay just felt like a 10-year-old game. Many of these modern games fall into this trap where they just keep regurgitating things that worked 10 years ago, but we're ready for innovation in the gameplay department, not the graphics. We need new experiences. Any fun to be had in this game happens in the first 8 hours. After that, you have to force yourself to keep going. It's just not worth it. And having no multiplayer really hurt this game, and it'll probably be the reason it'll be completely forgotten. Alright, moving on to the visuals. Let's talk about the good. I can't even lie, this game looks absolutely amazing graphically. I'm not talking about the art style. The art style is pretty dull and boring, but the graphics themselves look phenomenal. This is one of, if not the best looking games I've personally seen all year. It really did look pretty good. I had to finagle with some of the graphics settings for a bit in the beginning, but after I got them locked in, the game ran buttery smooth for me. I couldn't believe how fairly optimized the game really was, especially after Mass Effect Andromeda, but nope, I didn't see any "my face is tired" moments in this game. Nobody was like cut in half and sailing off my screen or anything. It ran pretty damn smooth, and in the beginning I had some stuttering when walking around in cities, but it went away after I dialed in my graphics settings. Also, the hair looks fan-fucking-tastic in this game. They have some of the best looking hair graphics I've ever seen. Hopefully that becomes a trend, because holy shit, you could literally see individual strands of hair. And it made me realize how badass that would be in so many other games. I know it's a stupid little feature, but you'd be surprised how much realism individual strands of hair add to your characters. Alright, moving on to the bad parts of the visuals. The game would take anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes to start up each time due to verifying shaders constantly. That could just be my personal PC rig, but damn, that really got annoying. Pretty much every character in this game is weird looking. It's not a graphical thing, but a design thing. They really don't give you anybody attractive to romance. Your party's a goddamn freak show, boys. I tried to bone Pegleg McGee, but she said there was no we. Alright, so to summarize the visuals, the graphics in this game are some of the best I've ever seen, and that's saying something, as I usually hate the Frostbite engine, but it really shines here. It messes with you though, because you have these amazing looking graphics with realistic hair and all, but then you have some of the weirdest looking characters in a game. So it's like it's constantly fighting with itself to decide if it wants to look really good or be a freak show. Alright, moving on to the sound, the good aspects of it. The soundtrack is okay in this game. It's not great, but it's serviceable. The sounds of the world and combat are pretty good, and they do help to keep you somewhat immersed in the world. But that's really all I got to say about the good aspects of sound. Let's move on to the bad.
You okay?
Oh, I'm fine, or will be. It takes a lot out of you, all those little magic bits. Not hard, just exhausting. But it needs to be done, and done right.
Yeah, keeping reality from falling apart is important. But other Veil jumpers can do this. Why not let them?
Because maybe then I can make up for it.
Make up for what?
For not being good enough when it counted. I'm sorry. I can't. Not right now.
I was surprised to find out that the music was done by Hans Zimmer and Lorne Balfe. I'm not gonna list it all, but damn, these guys have made some great music for movies and games in the past, but it's like they phoned it in for this one. Nothing really stood out musically in this game. The dialogue gets pretty damn cringe, guys, and the female writers really start talking at you in so many moments of this game. You just want to give your party members some Shawn Michaels sweet chin music and call it a day. It really starts to get annoying and you start screaming like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop. Shut up! Just fucking losing it, man. So to summarize the sound, the basic sounds of the game, including the soundtrack, were serviceable, but the character dialogue in this game is absolutely atrocious. I found myself wanting to smash my own teammates' heads against the wall after listening to their gossip and bickering for more than 5 minutes. The dialogue truly is one of the worst aspects of this game. Even if you're having fun playing, listening to these morons for 5 minutes will make you question why you're still here listening to their bullshit. And then you turn it off and never go back. Alright, let's move on to my final thoughts. The gameplay overall was fun at first, but after about 8 to 10 hours, you quickly realize how surface level everything is, and it becomes boring as hell fast. Not including multiplayer in this game really hurts, and it'll be the final nail for Dragon Age as a franchise in my opinion. Every one of your party members is god-awful, and you just want to get rid of them. You really do, you just want to get rid of them and go solo after a few hours. You're like, fuck this, get out of here, man. The non-stop talking and terrible writing really starts to scramble your brain. The graphics were amazing in this game though. It's a shame because graphically you see what could have been, but then the women came into the room and dropped the story on the table, and at that moment, the game was fucked. You know, and I know, and everyone else here knows, that whenever these games get female writers, they always turn out like shit! And as Oliver Anthony once said, it's a damn shame what these games are coming to. For people like me, and people like you. You know, that's really what that was about. Yeah, the sound was serviceable aside from the dialogue. But should you buy this game? No! Hell no, don't buy this game. Let this company and this franchise die already. Please, let this fucking franchise and this company die. They had to go all in with their fucking pronouns! So just tell them to fuck off by not buying this abomination. This game was made for people who don't play games. Makes absolutely no business sense. We need to let them know that by telling them to fuck off and not buying this garbage. Take this trash to someone else's hobbies. We're over it, boys. Alright, well that's all I got for you guys today. That's all I could do, man. I was roughing it out with the bronchitis, playing through this shitty game, and it's been rough, but let me know what you guys think down below. Did any of you even play this game? Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Let me know down below, guys. I gotta get the hell out of here. Peace.